Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the special meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Friday, May 29th. The meeting was scheduled for 1:30 this afternoon. We're starting at 1:42 p.m. Dr. Campos, you can help us establish quorum.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. We have Commissioner Caloza and Commissioner James that are joining us there at City Hall. We are also joined by Commissioner Davis, that is also at City Hall, but in his office. We are also joined by Commissioner Garcia and Commissioner Villegas. Both of them are calling in remotely from home. I am calling in myself from home, and we also are joined by Mr. Ted Jordan, who is dialing in remotely from home as well. Mr. President, you do have a quorum at this time. Currently, we do not have any public comments under general public comment, nor do we have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. We did receive one speaker card on item number 2 for today's special agenda.
Okay, then let's go ahead and take agenda item number 1, which is the approval of the meeting minutes from the meeting of Tuesday, May 19th, 2020. Is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes? That would be by Commissioner Caloza. Any objection, Commissioner Garcia? This is a
No
mic.
objections.
This is a mic test. Any objection, Commissioner Davis?
None.
Thank you. Any objection, Commissioner Villegas?
No.
Okay, thank you. The meeting minutes will be approved. Let's go to agenda item number 5, a revised construction order, Myers & Sons emergency repairs and construction services at the City of Los Angeles wastewater facilities. Recommending that the board authorize a revised construction order to Myers & Sons in an amount not to exceed $870,000 for emergency installation of the trailers, ongoing lease costs for temporary power, other construction items related to the trailers, and the demobilization of trailers. Secondly, change from Fund 760, Department number 50, appropriation unit is listed there, to Fund number 100, Department number 54, with a new appropriation unit listed, titled Trailer Installation Projects. Third, authorize the city engineer or his designee to prepare any technical and or accounting instructions to effectuate the intent of the motion. And we have a representative from engineering, I'm assuming, today?
Yes, we do. We have Ms. Deborah Weintraub.
Ms. Weintraub, go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, Commissioners. This is Deborah Weintraub, Chief Deputy City Engineer. So we're coming back to ask the board to increase our authority for the trailer installations, which were an emergency response to the COVID-19 pandemic, and to change the fund and account numbers. The 870 is what is being used for the installation of the trailers and ongoing maintenance of certain aspects of the trailers. And with the board's action, it will allow us to keep the trailers in place and operating into next fiscal year, though we may need to be back depending on how long the trailers are kept in place for additional funding. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Weintraub. Any questions at all, Commissioner Garcia?
No, not at this time, President. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner Villegas?
I am well, thank you. No questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis, any questions?
No, I understand this item to be one that is an emergency and certainly has a lot to do in terms of the need for us to move expeditiously given the environment we're in. So I certainly look forward to supporting this particular motion.
Okay, well, with no questions in the room, either Commissioner Davis.
I'm sorry, can I ask just one quick question?
Yes.
I blanked out when I
Commissioner
said no.
Villegas.
Just a point of clarification, will we be getting any kind of reimbursement from any federal funds since this is due to COVID?
So I really cannot answer that question. That is really a process that the mayor's office is going through to look at reimbursements. We've just been authorized to expend the money. So I'm sorry, Commissioner, I could get back to you on that.
Can I, let me step in on this for a moment, Commissioner Villegas, and maybe I can just provide a little bit of light on it, and Ted Jordan can supplement what I have to say as well. Uh, Granted, my conversations around this area are several weeks old now because these trailers came to us at the beginning of the COVID crisis. But my recollection from those early conversations is that this is something that, while Ms. Weintraub is correct, we don't know for sure yet, and I don't know that BOE's is equipped to answer it as she stated. I don't know that I am either, other than to tell you that from the conversations that I was involved in a few weeks ago, this certainly seems to square well with what type of reimbursements we will be entitled to receive. Mr. Jordan, anything else from you? Yeah, they're FEMA trailers, basically, yeah. Yeah.
Not enough to really give a definitive answer. I don't know if anyone can give a definitive answer. I would say the best I could do is say maybe.
Yeah.
FEMA rules, complicated. Obviously, this is the type of disaster or emergency that reimbursements can't be obtained from. FEMA has already taken certain procedural steps to put in place the necessary findings that cities and other local governments can rely upon. But the bottom line is there's a lot that goes into that in terms of the contracting side of things. Some of it is just procedural, administrative. So the best I could say right now is maybe.
Okay, I'm
That's
a bit
fine.
more
That's fine. I
optimistic.
appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for the context.
It was a good question, though. I wish I could say probably.
Yeah.
The best I'm willing to say right now is maybe.
Commissioner Colosa, you were involved in some of those early discussions too. Are you square with what my optimism is, or?
Yeah, I mean, just to add to what President James said, so the trailers themselves are about a little over 800 of them that were loaned to us from FEMA, and so these are the costs for installation. So I think the maybe, I'm also more optimistic as well that we would most likely get reimbursed for the installation costs as well, especially since these are being used in our rec centers predominantly to house our homeless community, and it's in line too with what the judge's orders are right now. So,
Thank you. So I'll take that as a previous motion from Commissioner Davis for this item. I'll second it. Any objection, Commissioner Villegas?
No objection.
Thank you. Commissioner Garcia?
No objections either.
Thank you. No objections in the room. So agenda item 5 has been approved. We can send it back as is forthwith. Correct, Dr. Campos?
That's correct.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Weintraub. Have a nice weekend. Let's go to agenda item number 2. I know we have Mr. Halden on the line from Council District 13. I'll call the item. Dr. Campos, you can unmute Mr. Halden. We'll get to him in a moment. And then, Dr. Campos, I have a text message from the Mayor's Office rep that I want to read into the record. I think that'll answer our question. Agenda item number 2, Bureau of Engineering, Council District 13, revised task order solicitation number 52A/340L as in Larry, and budget increase M. Arthur Gensler Jr. and Associates Incorporated for the Hollywood Walk of Fame project. Recommending that the board authorize the city engineer to issue a revision of the task for TOS number 052A/340L to M. Arthur Gensler Jr. and Associates Incorporated, increasing the budget authority from $297,000 to $2,526,577 for architectural and related professional services for the Hollywood Walk of Fame project. What I'd like to do is have our Bureau representative present on the item, summarize the item first. Then I'll put into the record the message I have from the Mayor's office. Then we can go to Mr. Halden with his statements and go from there. So we have somebody from BOE?
Yes, we do. We have Mr. Stephen Fierce.
Who? I'm sorry?
Stephen Fierce, Mr. Stephen Fierce.
Oh, great. Hi. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, hi. So I'm Stephen Ferris. I'm the new principal architect with Bureau of Engineering, and we're bringing this board report to you. This project is special funded by CRLA, $4,882,572 plus earned interest, which was approved in December of 2018. and then modified with a motion approved on May 13th, 2020, to use the entire funded amount towards design and environmental reviews. For background, the Bureau of Engineering issued a task order solicitation in March 2019 for planning and concept design to revitalize over 15 blocks on Hollywood Boulevard and 3 blocks on Vine Street. The task was sent to 32 firms of the Bureau of Engineering's pre-qualification list, which was of 20 architects and 12 landscape architects. So 3 firms submitted responses, and all 3 firms met the criteria of the task. Gensler was determined to be as best value. Gensler and the Council District, Bureau of Engineering, and others have worked with community and business associations, conducting workshops and presentations to elicit feedback until the concept was well liked. The task and the concept design were completed this past January 2020. So it's noteworthy that the Hollywood Walk of Fame master plan developed over the past year received an award of excellence from the Urban Design Los Angeles chapter of the American Planning Association just this last month. So the request to proceed into schematic design for the total task order amount of $2,526,577 will establish a holistic vision for the Hollywood Walk of Fame and establish priorities and scope for a future planned pilot project. This phase of work is anticipated to take between 18 and 24 months to complete. Currently, the Bureau of Engineering Environmental Management Group is developing a TOS and a separate board report to begin the initial environmental reviews with the balance of available funds. The estimated construction cost for the entire project is at $100 million, but could be as much as $200 million. And the cost of the pilot project, which will be to be determined as the funding and the scope of work are identified during the course of this next phase. There's an ongoing effort to find additional funds, and the Council District requested Gensler to assist with an ATP grant application. So Bureau of Engineering briefed Commissioner Calosa via email in March of this year to issue up to $150,000 to expedite preparation of the Metro ATP grant application. Initially, this grant application was due in April, but that date has now been extended due to COVID-19 until September. So funding is former money with the Council District approved its intended use, and that was this last motion in May. Gensler's negotiated proposal for this next step will revise the business inclusion program to the following. So for the anticipated 18% of MBE, they pledged 20%. For the anticipated WBE of 4%, they pledged 3.87%. The anticipated SBE of 25%, they have pledged 39.46%. The anticipated EBE of 8%, they've pledged 31.84%. And the anticipated DVBE at 3%, they have pledged 4.96%. So ultimately, when the funds are identified and when the schematic design and identify the pilot project and complete the environmental reviews necessary, we will be back to the board with our next steps. With that, now, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Welcome. Let me read the statement in. Oh well, just a minute. Now another one has come in. Sorry, everybody. Actually, Mr. Halden can. Well, let me go through my colleagues first. Oh, one moment. Okay, Mr. Halden, let me confirm one thing with you.
Sure.
So here's what I've got from a couple of different sources in the mayor's office. I think we're going to be able to move this forward today without additional mayoral approval. It was already approved by the mayor's office back in February, correct?
Yeah, so these are CRA, as Stephen mentioned, these are CRA excess bond proceeds that as in total have already been appropriated, and only BOE for the purposes of the Walk of Fame project can spend this money anyway. What is before you today is essentially an administrative reauthorization of how we spend that money in terms of the further design process. There have previously been some limits as to how much of that roughly $4 million could be spent on the schematic design phase, and this gives DOE and the consulting team a little bit more flexibility with how to spend that money.
Okay, thank you. And just to confirm that, I think you've already indicated, there's no general fund here. These are all CRA excess funds, correct?
Yes, that's correct. This is all CRA excess bond proceeds funding. There is no impact to the general fund and therefore to the general city budget.
Okay, then, Dr. Campos, just to confirm, I have from the Mayor's Office of Budget and Innovation as well as the Mayor's Budget Officer herself that the item does not need to come back to the Mayor's Office for further approval if the Board of Public Works approves this today. Mr. Halden, let me go through my colleagues to see if they have any questions, and then we'll come back to you. Commissioner Davis, any questions?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, is it Steve that is the representative from BOE on this project?
Yes.
Steve, I wanted to ask, could you just, in your own evaluation, paraphrase for me, in this project, we have not begun the work on this project yet, right? Obviously not.
Well, no, that's actually not true. Starting last year, when the TOS was issued to develop the concept design, that work was the initiation that really laid the groundwork for the project in concept through the workshops and the stakeholders. And so with that as a basis, we can now begin schematic design in earnest.
What's our overall goal on the project? Obviously, this is an institution in and of itself, been around since 1958, and certainly is something that all American citizens in general look to in terms of its reflection of the accomplishments of many of the people with whom we have had contact and enjoyed their work over the years. What are we doing overall with this TOS? They are trying to preserve the legacy of the Hollywood Walk of Fame as an institution, or how would you paraphrase what we're doing here overall?
Yeah, in general, the Hollywood Walk of Fame with its rich history, it's been pretty run down, and over time, the maintenance repairs have been challenging and sort of ad hoc. And so this is to try to create a new kind of holistic vision to bring the Hollywood Walk of Fame into the 20th century with a holistic vision. And the goal of the schematic design then would be to target a pilot project that then we could raise funds for and actually develop. And so it's a smaller portion of it that would set the parameters for the future build-up.
So would it be safe to say that this is a pilot project that we're using to try to give a facelift to the project overall? Is that basically what we're trying to do here in terms of the work that they were doing in the talk?
Yeah, the pilot project portion of it is really yet to be determined, and that's why we want to do the schematic design. So
I see.
So that you can create, do the in-depth analysis for the entire project, and that's with the environmental reviews, and there's quite a bit of extensive work involved understanding the infrastructure with the streets. And overall, it's the effort here would be to create a very well thought out, detailed schematic design based on the concept work that's been completed to date. And in that could identify a pilot project. But the work on the actual pilot project would not start until the next phase.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Villegas, any questions?
Thank you. Just a few, and I appreciate Commissioner Davis's questions as well, and Stephen's responses to those. So I just wanted to reiterate, these funds will be used just for the design, the schematic design, is that correct? this $2 million?
That is correct.
Okay, and right now, it just seems like from your report and from what I've read, on the pilot project, you'll be looking for additional grant funds?
That's correct. And there's currently a ATP grant fund that they're pursuing. So yeah, additional funds continue to be searched out.
Okay. Will you be coming back to the board at all for any additional approvals, or can we get any kind of updates as how the project is going? I mean, this is so innovative and so not common, and so I'd just be curious to hear, how the pilot project's coming along and just seeing what we could be, doing to restore it.
Yes, absolutely. We can definitely come back and give periodic updates, the status reports on the project.
Yeah, nothing. Honestly,
back.
Thank you. I don't do this to cause absolutely no more work. I'm just curious in terms of how it's coming along, and seeing where the pilot project would be located because the Walk of Fame is so big.
Okay.
Thank you. That was all. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Commissioner Garcia, any questions?
No, President James, both commissioners have asked what I wanted to know. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Caloza.
Thank you, President James. I don't have any questions, but just more of a comment and a testament to Mr. Halden, Councilmember O'Farrell, and the entire CD13 team who, in spite of a global pandemic, continue to do outreach on this project. Even virtually, it's actually a huge testament to the labor of love that they have put into reimagining the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And I think this streetscape plan, the timing of it, and reimagining what that public space looks like is actually a really good time as we start to think about this post-COVID world and how that kind of reality will be implemented into the future plans of our beloved Walk of Fame. So just want to thank Mr. Halden again and the council member for all their work on this. And of course, Steve and Deborah and the entire BOE team.
Thank you, Commissioner Caloza. Mr. Halden, before I second Commissioner Caloza or ask for a second to Commissioner Caloza's motion, anything you'd like to add from the council office, sir?
Thank you to all of you for your comments and your questions. Councilmember O'Farrell, really appreciate you hearing this and helping us reauthorize and clarify this today. And we're very happy to be working on this project. And I also want to thank the Bureau of Engineering for their extraordinary hard work and partnership, including Deborah and Steve Fierce, Gus Malcoon, Neil, Bill, the whole team. I'm sorry if I left anybody out. And we're going to keep moving forward with the community, and we've had a really good response and feedback from the community thus far. So moving forward, and thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Halden. So is there a second to Commissioner Caloza's motion besides myself? Commissioner Villegas, thank you. Was that you, Commissioner Davis?
It was.
All right, thank you.
Me too.
Okay, so that'll be the order then, because we have seconds from everybody else. Any issues sending agenda item number 2 forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith as is with no amendment there. So, Mr. Halden, thank you, sir, for your help. Congratulations.
Thank you to all of you. Be safe.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend. Steve, thank you as well. Welcome to the Board of Public Works. Was that Steve's first time to present? Oh, okay. Well, Steve, I'm sorry. I would probably recognize you you were in a room and I could see a face, but I don't see anything, not even your last name. So
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Steve. Have a great weekend. Let's go to agenda item number 3, grant application, California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, Los Angeles Urban Forest Management for the Future, recommending that the board, subject to the mayor and city council approval, find that the loan proceeds will be deposited into the city's general fund number 100, Department 74, with which interest earned is retained by that fund, and is also the same fund where interest earned in the Public Works Trust Fund number 834 is transferred to on an interim basis. And secondly, approve the waiver of interest assessment. Third, adopt the accompanying resolution authorizing the Board of Public Works to submit the grant application to CAL FIRE. Fourth, authorize the executive officer of the Board of Public Works or his designee to to apply for, accept, negotiate, execute, and submit all grant documents, including but not limited to applications, agreements, and amendments, subject to the approval of the city attorney as to form which may be necessary to receive funding if awarded a grant from the state of California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, otherwise known as CAL FIRE, for the project Los Angeles Urban Forest Management for the Future. Number 5, authorize a new $1.5 million loan from the Public Works Trust Fund payable to the general fund to front fund the Los Angeles Urban Forest Management for the Future project if the grant is awarded, or in the amount of the state-approved award if the project is partially funded. Number 6, authorize the Board of Public Works Director of Accounting, subject to proof of grant award from CAL FIRE, to transfer up to $1,500,000 from available funds within the Public Works Trust Fund to the general fund, Board of Public Works, and increase appropriation account authority as follows, and the table is listed in the agenda and the board report. Number 7, authorize the reimbursement of grant funds received from CAL FIRE to be deposited into the general fund and subsequently transferred back to the Public Works Trust Fund no later than 1 week after the deposit has been made until full repayment is made by no later than June 30th, 2024. And number 8, authorize the Board of Public Works Executive Officer or his designee to make any technical or accounting updates to the recommendations above to effectuate the intent of the mayor and city council. We have a representative today, Dr. Campos, on number 3.
Yes, we have Ms. Rachel Mallarich and also Mr. Norman Tanada from the Public Works Trust Fund Management.
All right, great. Are we starting with you, Ms. Mallarich?
I believe so.
Okay, go right ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, President James and Commissioners. I'm here to talk to you about our grant application for CAL FIRE's Urban Forest Management Activities Grant, as well as the Public Works Trust Fund loan that would front fund that grant if awarded. So first off, the grant itself, the application that we have put together, looks to do 4 things. 1 is to complete our city's tree inventory. 2 is to develop the Urban Forest Management Plan for the City of Los Angeles. 3 is conduct the related community engagement to the development of that plan, engaging our residents and constituents as we develop the UFMP, and leverage the trees the city is planting in areas of great need in order to receive these funds. CAL FIRE requires an early action tree planting component, and so I will be working with our city departments to capture our efforts towards tree planting in our high need areas to report to CAL FIRE for this project. A little bit of background: in 2018, under the leadership of City Plants, there was our first step to an urban forest management plan report that was developed through a 10-month stakeholder process. Out of the 6 recommendations within that report, 2 are being addressed by this grant application. 1 is that completion of the inventory, and 2 is the development of the urban forest management plan. In spring of last year, the mayor in the Green New Deal laid out the need to also complete those activities, doing the urban forest management plan and completing our tree inventory. And the inventory was funded partially by last year's budget. Urban Forestry Division received $2 million to begin our street tree inventory project, but we know that that only covers a portion of the city, quite a bit. The $2 million will take us quite a ways, but this grant is looking to find funding for the remaining balance of trees that will need to be inventoried for the city to have a completed inventory, which is required before we can finish that urban forest management plan. So that's a little bit of the context. I'm very excited. We worked very hard on pulling together this application. We are excited about the opportunity to potentially partner with LA County. If we're awarded, I'll come back and we'll be talking about contracting and some details there. But hopefully looking to leverage public funds and help our urban forest in the region be resilient through some collaboration with the county. Additionally, helping us do our community engagement in a really robust fashion to engage populations that aren't always part of our normal process of engagement through utilizing these funds in a partnership with the county. And I do anticipate coming back to report, if we're awarded, to come back and report at your preference updates to this project as we hit certain milestones. And I'm happy to answer any questions at this point.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Garcia, we'll start with you.
Sure. Thank you, President James. Rachel, thank you for that briefing. That was really good. When do you expect to hear back? I don't know if you said it. Sorry.
Oh, no, I didn't actually. So we're hoping to hear back. I would anticipate before the end of June. We don't have a firm date from the state, but that's what we would anticipate.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Villegas?
I don't have any questions. I'm just excited for this grant to be submitted and just to hear a lot of good news. I know that Rachel, since she got here, she's been working really hard on it. So it's a big deal for us to be able to submit something like this. And it's going to go, for areas that, just don't have, as we've been seeing with our tree inventory, like sections, neighborhood by neighborhood. It'd be good to be able to see some impacts made to those communities that need it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Commissioner Davis.
Yes, Rachel, I'd like to commend you for the grant that you're applying for, and I'm glad that the trust fund can be used to help front fund this effort, and I certainly strongly support your ability to be able to have more resources to help further develop our urban forest management plan. And also, as has been stated by my colleague, it is important for us to not only collaborate with Los Angeles County, which is obviously critically important, that we do have some effective management and effective working together with them, but also the community connection that you speak of is also critically important for those underserved areas in the past in terms of those that don't have the kind of urban forestry we'd like to have. And I'm sure your plan, when you further develop it, will reveal all of our potential in terms of the urban forestry in the city of Los Angeles. So again, I commend you for what you have done and for articulating these objectives that we clearly need to further develop. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. And no questions or comments in the room. So was that a motion, Commissioner Villegas?
Yes. Yes,
All right.
It was.
I'll second that, along with Commissioner Caloza. Any objection, Commissioner Garcia? Oh, that's a second. Okay, that takes care of that. Commissioner Davis, any objection?
No, support it.
All right, and no objection here from the chair. So that will be the order. Any issue sending number 3 forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Dr. Campos, we don't need to provide any amendments to agenda item number 3, correct?
That is correct. The report itself is already recommending it to be sent to the mayor's office and city council for approval.
As it says right there in the top line of the recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
All
That's
right,
for
thank
the administrative code.
Thank you. So we're done with number 3. Ms. Malrich, thank you very much for the hard work and the presentation today.
Thank you.
Dr. Campos, thank you to your office and to Norman as well for the assistance on this. That'll take us to agenda item number 4, a budget increase and supplemental agreement change order number 8 for Ramona Incorporated. This is a secondary sewer renewal program, difficult to access reaches for Hollywood Wilshire Planning Area Project. Council Districts 4, 5, and 10. Engineering and sanitation. Recommending that the board first authorize $3,706,905 in additional contingency and approve a revised construction budget of $8,714,771 for the secondary sewer renewal program, difficult to access reaches 05 Hollywood Wilshire Planning Area Project. Secondly, authorize the city engineer to issue a supplemental agreement change order number 8, that's transmittal number 1, to Ramona Incorporated for a not to exceed amount of $3,422,366 for the project to complete repairs due to differing site conditions encountered during the construction phase. Dr. Campos, we have a representative with us for number 4.
Yes, we do. Mr. Brad Jensen.
Mr. Jensen, go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is Brad Jensen, the Division Engineer for the Wastewater Conveyance Engineering Division of Bureau of Engineering. The project SSRP DARL 5 was awarded by the Board of Public Works on February 9th, 2018 to Ramona Inc. for a total budget of $5,007,866. This project was to repair or renew approximately 5.4 miles of sewers using spot repairs or rehabilitation by lining, and installing or rehabilitating sewer structures, and cleaning and performing closed-circuit television inspection of 25,524 feet of sewers. This change order will address the differing site conditions encountered with the scheduled reaches designated as Note 66, Clean and CCTV in the project plans. The Note 66 Clean and CCTV reaches were not able to be televised during the design phase for various reasons. The contractor was required to clean and provide this inspection during the construction phase so that the city could determine the actual repairs that needed to be made. Based upon earlier DAR projects, the city had estimated that 20% of these sewers would need to be repaired. Based upon the closed-circuit television inspection provided by the contractor, many of the reaches required additional repairs and rehabilitation as opposed to what was estimated. During the construction phase, this percentage has increased from 20% that was estimated to approximately 45%. Additionally, 19 sewer reaches at the LA Country Club, 1 reach from the SSRP N07 project, 3 reaches in Franklin Canyon Park, and 3 reaches at various locations were added to the project to perform CCTV inspection. A review of those videotapes revealed the need for immediate repairs to those sewers. In order to minimize multiple disruptions at the LA Country Club, LA DWP and power facilities, and the National Park Services that required repairs will be addressed on this project and thus eliminate future coordination with these said entities regarding any future repairs. The Program Review Committee from the Bureau of Sanitation approved a total budget of $8,814,771, which includes contingency for this project on March 11th of this year. This work has not been authorized pending approval of this report by the Board of Public Works. Therefore, staff recommends that the board authorize $3,706,905 in additional contingency and approve a revised construction budget of $8,714,771 for the DAR 5 project and authorize the city engineer to issue the supplemental agreement change order number 8 to Ramona Inc. for the amount not to exceed $3,422,366 to complete the repairs for this project. I can answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Davis, we'll start with you.
What is the timeline of this project, Brad, in terms of construction here?
Well, the initial project was awarded in February 2018.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the contract initially was going to be completed in 460 calendar days. However, with this additional scope, what we've found is that, the contractors had difficulty getting into these difficult access sewers to begin with. So as part of this supplemental agreement, there will be additional time negotiated with the contractor to complete this work. The work will probably go on for another year or so.
I see. Okay. And then in terms of the funding for this project, where does the funding come from for this project?
All of this is coming from the Sewer Construction Maintenance Fund.
Gotcha.
Which is a special fund.
Thank you for that.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Garcia.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Villegas.
No questions.
Thank you. No questions in the room. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 4, seconded by Commissioner Caloza. Any objection, Commissioner Villegas?
None.
Any objection, Commissioner Garcia?
None.
Any objection, Commissioner Davis?
None.
Dr. Campos, do we need to amend that motion for mayoral approval, or are we clear?
No, yes, you do. You read my mind.
All right, so that motion is amended, subject to mayoral approval with the second from Commissioner Caloza. So that, without objection, that'll be the order on number 4. Any issue sending number 4 as amended forthwith? We'll send number 4 as amended forthwith. Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a nice, safe weekend after this short week, and we will see you next week. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, President.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.